Sevan karma, i.e. suturing technique, is used to close or repair the cut or incision made for a surgical procedure or injury caused by the trauma. It is the final step of most surgical interventions. The father of surgery, Acharya Sushruta, has mentioned Seevana karma at 8th place among the Ashtavidha Shastra karma, 8 different surgical practices in Sushruta Sanhita, which are Chedana, Excision, Bhedana, Incision, Lekhana, Scarification, Vyadhana, Puncturing, Ishana, Probing, Aharana, Extraction, Visravana, Evacuating, and Seevana, Suturing. It is placed at last position not because it is least important, but the reason for this placement is because after finishing the first 7 Shastra karmas it is employed. 1. Seevana karma is the most important intervention is proper suturing with specified suture materials. Assures the approximation of wound, early healing, and minimal scar formation. Usually taken on skin, internal tissues, mucosa or blood vessels. Sushruta Acharya also specifically mentioned the Seevana Dravya which are used for Seevana karma, i.e. Seevana Sutra and Seevana Suchi. Its indication, contraindication, and procedure are mentioned in Sanhita very accurately that it is a relevant present day also. These various suturing techniques or materials which are mentioned in our Sanhitas were developed according to the need of surgical procedures and limited resources present in ancient times. But now it's our responsibility to improvise or develop these classical suturing techniques by using modern advancement or technology, which will give the precious contribution in the field of medical science as well as to the society. Suturing is the procedure of mechanical wound closure with the help of suturing material. The principal role of suturing technique or suture material is to hold wound edges so that healing can proceed without delay and protect it from exposure of infection until healing is completed. Thus, sutures play an important role in wound repair by providing support to the healing wound. Fine suturing is an art and a sign of a good surgeon. Suturing technique in an Ayurveda called as Seevana karma. The Seevana karma is one of the important practices among the Ashtavid Shastra karma, i.e. practice or the procedure done using sharp instruments. Sevan karma is explained by Acharya Sushruta in Sushruta Sanhita Sutra Sthana 5th and 25th chapter or in Chikitsa Sthan 1/4-5th including in Shasthi Upakrama. In Charaka Sanhita Chikitsa Sthana 5th chapter, Acharya Vagbhata in Ashtang Sangraha 38th chapter, Bela Sanhita Chikitsa Sthana 27th chapter. Amongst all the classical references, Acharya Sushruta had explained Sevan karma in detail including types of suturing materials, its indications, contraindications, etc. Ayurvedic point of view, Seevana karma. It can be defined as the joining or repairing or closing of the discontinued or bifurcated edges of tissue caused by surgical incision or accidental trauma with the help of Seevana Suchi or Seevana Sutra as called as Seevana karma. Indication: the wound which is not having any complications of ripening, suppuration localized in the muscle and having a wide opening should be sutured. The wound should be elevated, raised slightly, placed in a normal position and then sutured. Sushruta Acharya specified the conditions where Seevana karma should be done, which are the diseases arising from medas such as tumor, bhinnavrana, incised wounds, sadyovrana, and wounds over the chala sandhis, i.e. movable joints. Contraindication: Acharya Sushruta also specified the contraindications for Seevana karma, such as wounds caused by kshara, alkali, agni, fire, vishar, poison, gangrene, antar, lohita, shalya. When there is the presence of shalya inside the wound like pamshu, sand, broma, nakha, bones, its presence will cause suppuration, pus formation in the wounds and give rise to different kinds of pain. In such conditions, Seevana karma should be avoided. Seevana Dravya. Seevana karma done with the help of 1. Seevana Sutra, 2. Seevana Suchi, Seevana Sutra. In various Sanhita Granthas, Seevana Sutras are derived from 2 types of sources which are animal and plant origin. Seevana Sutra which is obtained from plant origin is Sukshma Sutra of Ashmantika, Valkala, Baka, Bohemia Resmosa, Shanaja Sutra, jute fibers, Murva, Mazdania tenacissima, Guduchi, Tinospora, Cordifolia. In modern practices also above mentioned plant fibers are processed by advanced methods and machines to form monofilament and multifilament suturing materials. Seevana Sutra obtained from animal origin Asnayu tendons, Bala, Kesha, Horsehair's, Pipalika, big black ants, was used. Seevana Suchi. Seevana Suchi is a sharp-pointed instrument designed to carry suturing material or Seevana sutra while sewing the edges of tissues. It should be round, cylindrical or straight and of 2 angula, i.e. 4 cm long for the place which has less muscle mass or for a joint place. And the places which have broad area, needle should have 3 edges, i.e. triangular, or having 3 angula, i.e. 6 cm length is ideal. For suturing at vital spots, scrotum, abdomen, it should be curved like a bow. Suchi should have a hint tip resembling the stalk of Malati Pushpa or round. This facilitates the Seevana sutra to hold, fasten and allows approximation of the tissue together till the wound gets healed. Types of Suchi. Acharya Sushruta specified the 20 types of Shastras, which includes Suchi Shastra. There are 3 types of Suchi mentioned. They are 1. Vritta, cylindrical or straight. 2. Aita, triangular. 3. Dhanurvakra, curved. Acharya Vagbhata also mentioned 3 types of Suchi, which are Vritta, triangular, Dhanurvakra. Qualities of Suchi. Acharya Sushruta was given specific qualities of Suchi, which are 1. Tiksanagra, means its tip should be sharp. 2. Susamahita, body should be equal in size. 3. Malati Pushpa via integra parimandala. Procedure of Seevana Karma. Acharya Sushruta have explained the procedure of Seevana Karma systematically as one of the 8 surgical practices, i.e. Ashtavidha Shastra Karma, which includes the Trividha Karma, i.e. 1. Purva Karma, 2. Pradhan Karma, 3. Pascha Karma. Purva Karma. Agropaharan means the preparation of all desired instruments and materials before starting the procedure. In the case of Agantuja, i.e. accidental traumatic wound, if it is contaminated with any foreign bodies such as pamshu, small stones, broma, hairs, nakha, nails, it should be withdrawn from the wound and samyak vishodhana, proper cleaning with antiseptic solutions of rana with help of quatha, i.e. medicinal decoction is done. Edges of the wound were elevated. Pradhana Karma. After proper vrana shodhana, the wound edges should be elevated, raised slightly, kept in the normal position for proper approximation and sutured with appropriate suturing material. While doing Seevana Karma, punctures with Suchi should be made neither very far nor very near of wound edges. Main procedure Seevana Karma is carried out with the help of Seevana Dravya and Seevana Suchi. External suturing. The wound sutured either with thin thread of bark of Ashmantaka, flax, jute, linen, ligaments, horse hair, fiber of murva or guduchi. Internal suturing. While performing surgery for Chidrodara intestinal perforation, the heads of big black ant or giant ant pipalikas are used to staple a wound over intestine. The cut ends of the intestines are brought closer and got bitten by pipalika big black ants of the perforated part of intestine. The body of these ants is cut in, removed, leaving behind their jaws heads only after they have stuck up well, which resemble today's advance absorbable suturing material used for intestinal suturing and the abdomen as closed. Types of Seevana Karma. 1. Velitika. This is achieved by suturing continuously along the length of the wound, wrapping the wound edges inside it. 2. Gofanika. The vrana which are shaped as footprints of a crow or white, they are sutured with Gofanika type of suturing. 3. Tinasevani. It is done as the torn up garments are sutured. It is advisable in vrana over the eyelids. 4. Rujugranthi. This needle is inserted in vrana margins and sutured, keeping some distance between 2 stitches. Paschat Karma. After suturing has been done properly, the wound should be sprinkled with churna of priyangu, saviranjana, yasti, lodra, challaki, phala or ash of linen cloth and covered with Shuma Pichu and Bandhana, proper bandaging done. Modern point of view. Sutures definition. The process or material used to close, repair or approximate the wound edges and to ligate blood vessels, tubular structures and ducts called as sutures. Characteristics of an ideal suture. Suture material should 1. Easy to handle. 2. Not induce significant tissue reaction. 3. Allow secure knots, should hold tissue securely without cutting the tissue. 4. Have adequate tensile strength. 5. Not cut through tissue. 6. Be easy to sterilize. 7. Be non-electrolytic. 8. Be non-allergenic, non-carcinogenic. 9. Cheap, economical, affordable. Thus, not promote the growth of bacteria around it, resistant to infection. Goals of suturing. 1. Wound edge apposition. 2. Provide adequate tension. 3. Maintain adequate hemostasis. 4. Aid in wound healing. 5. Avoid wound infection. 6. Produce aesthetically pleasing scar by approximating skin edges. Classification sutures. 1. Monofilament vs multifilament. 2. Natural vs synthetic. 3. Absorbable vs non-absorbable. Surgical needles. A needle designed to carry sutures when sewing tissues or closing the wounds. The surgical needle is made up of stainless steel alloy and having resistant property to corrosion and contains a minimum of 12% chromium. Characteristics of ideal needle. 1. Made of high quality stainless steel. 2. As slim as possible without compromising strength. 3. Stable in the grasp of the needle holder. 4. Able to carry suture material through tissue with minimal trauma. 5. Sharp enough to penetrate tissue with minimal resistance. 6. Rigid enough to resist bending, yet flexible enough to bend before breaking. 7. Sterile and corrosion resistance to prevent the introduction of microorganisms or foreign bodies into the wound. Anatomy of needle. 1. Swage, site of attachment of the suture to the needle. 2. Body, it is the portion grasped by the needle holder. 3. Point, needle point extends from tip of needle to the level of maximum cross section of the body. Types of surgical needle according to point or tip. 1. Cutting needle. 2. Spatular needle. 3. Taper point needle. 4. Taper cut needle. Types of needle based on shape. 1. Straight needle. 2. 1 चौथाई circle. 3. 3/4 circle. 4. 4. आधा circle. 5. 5/8 circle. 6. J-shaped. 7. Curve needle. Type of suturing techniques. 1. Simple interrupted suture. It is the most common and simple form of suturing technique. The suture is placed by inserting the needle perpendicular to the epidermis. Inserting it perpendicularly helps in a wider bite of deeper tissue, leading to rapid wound healing, thinner scar, or cosmetically appealing outcomes. The stitch should be wider at the base than the top. In the end, a knot is tied to secure the suture. Though continuous running suture. It is a simple interrupted suture without interruption. The suture is started by placing a simple interrupted stitch, which is tied but not sliced. Simple sutures are placed in succession without cutting or tying the suture. Material. In the end, the stitch is secured by tying a knot after the last pass. Theme. Running locked suture. A simple running suture may either be locked or left unlocked. At first, the knot of a running locked suture is tied similarly to that in a traditional running suture. Next, the stitch is locked by passing the needle through the loop as each stitch is placed. 4. Vertical mattress suture. It is a variation of a simple interrupted suture. The needle is inserted at the wound edge and a wider bite of tissue is included before exiting the skin in the same position at the opposite end of the wound edge. The needle is then reinserted on the second side of the wound and exits the skin in the same position on the first side of the wound. The stitch is secured with a knot. 5. Horizontal mattress suture. The needle is inserted 5 to 10 mm from the wound edge and exits on the opposite side of the wound. The needle is then reinserted on the second side of the wound and exits the skin in the same position on the first side of the wound. The stitch is secured with a knot. Chair. Running subcuticular sutures. It is a buried form of a running horizontal mattress suture. The stitch is placed in a zigzag form through the deeper layer of the skin. No scar or marks are visible. Finally, we can say that a good surgeon always gives prime importance to wound healing after any surgery. Suturing comes under the primary intention of the wound healing process as it provides assistance for healing and gives faster recovery. Acharya Sushruta mentioned suturing technique as Seevana karma in one among the Ashtavidha Shastra karma. In any operative procedure, incision or excision is the first step and suturing is the final step to close the operative site. Sevan karma is indicated in diseases arising from Medas, Bhinna Vrana and size. Wound Sadyovrana, traumatic wound, and wounds over the Chalsandhi, i.e. movable joints. Sevan karma as contraindicated in the wound caused by Kshara, alkali, Agni, fire, Visha, poison. Gangrene, Antarlohita Shalya, as in these types of the wound has extensive trauma to the skin, and if suturing done in these conditions it will lead to secondary infection or formation of Paskanaka. Acharya Sushruta also specified Seevana Dravya specified as Seevana Sutra and Seevana Suchi. In Various Sanhita Granthas, Seevana Sutras are derived from two types of sources, which are animal and plant. Origin. According to the degradation property of suturing materials, it is classified into absorbable sutures and non-absorbable sutures. Plant origin as non-absorbable suture material, while animal origin, such as snayu and ant head pipalika, comes under absorbable suture. Ant head pipalika was used for suturing in surgery of Chidrodara, which acts as both mechanical and chemical assistance in the wound healing process. Seevana Suchi is equally important as Seevana Sutras, as it carries Seevana Sutra while sewing the edges of tissues. Suchi is one of the important of 20 Shastras mentioned by Acharya Sushruta. According to the shape of the Suchi, it is of three types. They are Vritta, cylindrical or straight, triangular, Dhanurvakra, curved. Suchi divides in three parts. One, tip should be Tikshanagra. 2, body, it may be Vritta, round, Aita, rectangular, Dhanurvakra, curved. 3, I should be small, where Seevana Sutra is inserted, and it should be like Malati, Pushpa, Vrintegra, Parimandala, jasmine flower, stalk tip. There are 4 types of Seevana karma, i.e. suturing technique, which are 1, Velitika, continuous. It resembles a creeper, can be quickly inserted and have only 2 knots at the beginning and the end. 2, Gofanika, interlocking, blanket, resembles the head of the cow. It is a blanket type of suture used on the skin. It is continuous interlocking suturing. 3, Tinasevani, subcuticular, it is done as like the torn up garments are sutured. 4, Ruju Granthi, interrupted, Seevana Sutra is inserted from 2 edges of wound and knot is tied. Seevana karma is the most important and final step after most of every surgical intervention, i.e. Ashtavid Shastra karma. Closing the wound by suturing assists in wound healing, gives faster recovery after surgery with less tissue scarring. The Sevya Vyadhi indications are Sevya Vyad, contraindications, or Vidhi, procedure for Seevana karma is precisely explained in our Sanhita Granthas, which is well appreciated and practiced with some advancement till date. The beauty or benefit of classical Seevana Dravya is, it acts as mechanical support, as well as has some medicinal properties in it which lead to faster recovery, lesser chance of wound infection or minimum tissue scarring. It is very appreciable that our Acharya Sushruta has invented or explained innumerable things or techniques very precisely, when there were very limited resources available, along with facing lots of confrontation and rivalry mindset of the society at that time. But in the present era, we must improvise and upgrade the knowledge shared by our respected Acharya Sushruta by using modern science or technology. This will give a precious contribution in the field of medical science as well as to society.